What's going on, guys, and welcome back to our Surviving Java series. Today I did say that it was going to be working on our main base place, but because we need glass now, I was tempted just to build our own personal super smelter at our base. Obviously it's going to be a much smaller version, like a 32 furnace array. But me and Max decided to go sort of full... Can I fly? Apparently I can't fly. There we go. Apparently we need to go like proper full-on over the top with a furnace system, which means we need a full-on over the top fuel system. And the best one, obviously kelp is good, but then you need the extra step of crafting, and that is a little bit tedious because you then have to wait for the kelp to be smelted in order to use that as fuel to not only smelt the kelp that you're smelting, but also to smelt all the other items. So we're going bamboo, and with bamboo we need a source of bone meal to make the farms go a lot quicker, considering they took out 0-tick farms. Thank you, I'm actually very pleased they've done that, because it means that we've had to come up with very large scale creative solutions in doing this. Now, to avoid stress and lag on the server, me and Max decided to take this to the end. So we've fought the Ender Dragon, killed it, cleared out one of the portals, got rid of the bedrock above the portal, set up minecart tracks to Max Villager Breeder down here. We've ran a cart all the way here to our end portal, where we've got another cart leading to the end portal in Ned, and another minecart track leading to the actual portal on the outskirts, which will then take it to the area that we actually need it, where we're going to set up a Villager Breeder. And the main plan is to have a villager operated massive, huge carrot farm. I said around 3 times. I'm trying to organize my thoughts as I'm speaking. So yeah, we want a massive carrot farm run by villagers, as well as 2 secondary cactus farms also feeding into a bunch of the composters to make bone meal in order to quick grow bamboo in order to run the super smelter, that which we're going to be building over there. And because it's going to require a ton of villagers, a ton of entities, a ton of hoppers, a ton of furnaces, it's going to require a lot of room. And the best way to alleviate any lag or consistent lag is to ensure that it's going to be built miles away from anyone having accidentally loading it or anything like that. The only time it will be loaded is when me, Mac, or anyone else on the server wants to utilize it, and that way they will have to go all the way out there. And obviously it's only going to be used for very big smelting nodes. So we've got the minecart system set up here all the way over to the end portal, and we're going to crack on and just try our best to move a couple of villagers all the way over there. So yeah, wish me luck. So as you could probably tell here, me and Mac are just struggling to get these villagers up and through the end portal. We did actually have to remove the bedrock from both sides. Well, not technically from the other side, but that side definitely getting through without suffocating within the bedrock. And we managed to do that pretty smoothly without any hiccups. So we set up a villager breeder, which he was then using the villagers to run his carrot farm on the right hand side that he's building up now. And I was building up the cactus farm on the left hand side. We've got plans of building 2 other farms. One, a big sugarcane farm, which I'm responsible for, and then another melon and pumpkin farm on the right hand side. I'm sort of circling it with my cursor, but obviously you can't see. Yeah, so we've got plans for them, just so that we have all of these resources on hand, and the farms are miles out of the way from anyone accidentally loading them. And it took around about 4 or 5 hours to build up these farms in total. We did end up building a Enderman switch, so then they all gathered in a hole, because they just kept on getting in our way. Now, the primary reason for building these farms was not just for the resources, but for the byproduct that after we've got enough of that resource, that will just go straight into composters and start creating bone meal. The bone meal is primarily for running the bamboo machines, which will be, I do apologise for that, which would be running the super smelter. Now it's a 128 furnace array, and it took about 4 days worth of designing and planning. And then after actually designing and planning it, it took around about a total of about 7 to 8 hours building it in survival. And so we started off on the actual furnaces, and then we started off on the dispensing system for getting the items out of the furnaces. And then I believe I worked on the redstone line, so organising exactly where they was going to go and how they was going to run. And it took quite some time designing it, and we managed to get the timings down perfectly, so the items being put into the furnaces are at the exact moment that they're being pulled out, so there's no delay in between smelts, which means you are literally getting 128 items smelted every 10 seconds through this thing, which is absolutely insane. The bamboo machines were, I believe the original design was EFOs, bamboozlers, but we forgone the bubble stream waters and we added some extra redstone circuitry because a couple of his dispensers wasn't firing on his design. Now, he did mention in his video that they do need some adjustments, but we made them adjustments to make them work for our sort of criteria that we needed them for. So I built up all 4 of them while Mac was working on the waterways and sorting out the sort of external things, and then I ended up moving on to the redstone works of it, and then I ended up running all the redstone cabling while Mac was working on his bubble stream Pez dispenser for the minecarts, which is entirely his idea, and I'm not going to take credit for any of that because I'm fairly sure at some point they're going to go wrong. But yeah, it was actually quite some fun building this up, especially just spending some time away from the overworld, because there's like 0 lag and 0 entities, and there's no mobs to deal with besides the Enderman. And after creating that Enderman switch, they weren't really too much of a nuisance for us, so we managed to be able to crack on and get this done in a matter, I think it was the super smelter alone was around about 5 to 7 hours, which isn't too bad going. But I'm quite happy with the way that it's turned out, and after all of this we can now jump in and finally see if it's actually going to work. I'm fairly sure we're going to run into a hiccup or two, but I'm sure that we'll also figure out them hiccups. But working on a couple of other systems in it will be key, so yeah, let's see where we go. Alright then guys, hopefully these time lapses come out alright, because it's around about 7 hours now worth of solid build. That was a creepy sound. Worth of solid building and implementing. Now, I did not include the dressing up of these farms in the time lapses, and that's purely because that was like an afterthought thing. That's what we done before we started working on this contraption, and obviously there's bits here now that weren't included in the time lapse because we've been sort of tidying it up, polishing off the systems and whatnot. We weren't too sure how to do the return system, but the easiest way is for me to take it step by step to explain what is going on here exactly. So we've got a 64, is it 64? No, 128 furnace array system. So we've got 32 on each run, got a double run on the middle, and they're going to be loaded by hopper minecarts. Hopper minecarts because they move slightly quicker than the chest minecarts, because obviously they're carrying less, I think it is. And we've timed it exactly so it's dropping off an item literally as an item's being picked up. And we had to do quite a lot of testing and quite a lot of rerouting redstone lines and activation systems and whatnot, but this is pretty much our super smelter, and we've got 4 bamboozlers from EFOs, but we've had to make modifications to them as well. But I'll show you from the beginning. What we've got going on here is we've got 2 hopper minecart Pez dispensers. So when the activation system sort of kicks in, you'll have 2 minecarts knocked onto the tracks, and they'll feed through to this loading section, and they'll grab more than enough to actually have at least 1.5 stacks to do the first run. Now, while they're halfway on a run, the next signal will be sent to send another 2 hopper minecarts into the system using the Pez dispenser system to then collect their load. And what will happen is that when one minecart comes in, it'll activate a circuit which will open the doors for the next ones to go along, and that timing circuit is done perfectly, so there's always at least 1 item smelting. And then that is part of the loading system and our item dispersal. And then we've got our fuel system, which is pretty much the way that the zero tick farms, but sort of maximized. So we've got the bamboozlers that Etho sort of created, and the redstone is fairly similar, except for on his design, this one and this one was never actually firing. They weren't getting bud powered how he expected, and even in his video, he said that you may need to make some redstone adjustments, and we did have to actually run the secondary redstone line in here to get them to fire in as well. And feeding of the bone mill is nowhere near quick enough, so it's not going to be a system that you could run indefinitely. But we have been stocking it up with bone mill, and what we have also got is 4 lines running in order to refill the bone mill once we've got more of the farms producing the organic matter, over producing the carrots are already producing bone meal down below, but I've not routed them there. So once the bone meal is sort of collected in one area, we'll then separate it into 4 separate streams to be fed to the 4 different bamboozlers, which are enough to power it provided they're fully stocked with bone meal, which is fine. We've also spawn proofed everything, and then we've got the collection system, which basically this line of hopper droppers, this system works a lot quicker than where it actually needs to work, and they all spit all of their items down here, down into a central, oh my god, my words, central chamber, and then can we just get through here, and then it goes straight back down the middle. I've not 100% tested this return circuit or return system for the items. Yeah, Mac has been here, oh my god, me and him spent about 5 days designing this thing, and the better part of the last 2 days building it, and I don't know, does he want to go F5 and then do that? There we go. He would be in chat with me at the moment, but he's actually off doing bits and pieces trying to get sand, I think. Well, he's meant to be getting sand to actually run through this so we can give it a test run. And then, yeah, so the items go to the back and to the item elevator back here. They go up and then they get dropped down into this section of the chest. Now, because we've got 128, yeah, don't forget the mob switch. Because we've got 128 furnaces, it means every 10 seconds we're going to have 128 items feeding into the system. So we've got 6 hopper chains connected to a chest. So we've got 6 inputs, 2 in the back, 2 in the sides, 2 on the top. And that should theoretically keep up with the amount of items coming in. At least for, I think it's like a double chest or 2 double chests worth it can keep up with before you start getting a backlog. And he's on about the mob switch that we ended up having to use whilst building these farms, and that is because the Endermen just kept on getting in our way. It wasn't a case that they was aggroing us, because obviously we got the pumpkins on our heads, but they was just non-stop getting in our way. So we've just whacked a Endermite in a minecart, and I forgot what I've actually named this one because our first one died, but yeah. So we've got an Enderman pit which stops all the Endermen sort of griefing us and hassling us while we were trying to actually build the farm. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it covered from top to bottom. We are just about ready. Obviously we've not got the bone mill dispersories sort of hooked up, so we don't get to see that in full action, because I still need to sort out the redstone contraption that's going to collect the bone meal from the overflow of all the organic crops and condense it and then split it. So I've got to condense all of the crops into one section through a filter, any in the overflow go through the composters, and then combine all the composters that we have into one area in order to then split again 4 times over. So that is where I'm at with the bone meal dispersal system, and we've got the systems in place for it to be actually go. I just need to split it into 4 ways basically. But yeah, other than that, I think we're about ready to give it a test run. So let me make sure that we've got the sand and all the systems are ready to go, and then we can have a look at it. I know that when we tested it in our redstone test world or the creative version, our frames were dropped to around about 10. I've got all the info up on the top left hand corner this time round, because we have to try to keep to a high if I made, will they make it? I don't know. I'm fairly sure they do. So yeah, so the reason that we've got the info up in the top left hand corner is because me and Mac needs to keep an eye on the TPS to make sure that this entire thing doesn't affect the server and it is just the client side FPS drops rather than affecting the entire server. Otherwise we'll only be able to run this when me and Mac are on, or when we're on by ourselves basically. But so far, it's like with all of this going on, the amount of hoppers and water streams and everything we've got going on, the fact that the TPS is still sitting steady at 20 and there's 5 of us on, that is extremely good. And I know that McLovin is definitely on over at the sheep wool farm where Mac's base is, and he's got like an iron farm and all sorts running over there. So have that all the way off, thank you. Yeah, so let me just get ready to start this thing up, and I'll bring you back. Are you saying that we start the bamboozlers like 30 seconds after starting the smelting?
Well, it doesn't matter because there's nothing in any of the hoppers, but I've only primed the furnaces.
Oh, okay. Well, you might as well start the bamboozlers and make sure that they're running alright then.
Go on then.
It's gonna. I've got a really bad feeling it's just gonna crash the server. I'm not hearing it. You hear it? Yeah, there goes my frames.
There goes the bamboo.
Yeah, we need the bamboo to sort of at least start getting up to midway point.
Frames are really bad.
But the TPS of the server's holding out, so
TPS is fine.
The thing is, like, we've not even got enough bone meal in there to fill up past
Like,
the halfway point.
Full, you know, it is like. You say that like with 4 hop. I know there's like.
We're 4 hoppers in, but yeah, there is fucking 32 of them.
5 hoppers. It looks so good though. Like, come and stand here and just see it all working.
Yeah, the thing is, like, we're gonna run out of bone meal well before these are filled.
Yeah. It looks so good.
Which means the first set of furnaces, once we start smelting, are gonna run out of fuel.
No, they won't, because they're only do. What have I got?
If there's 1 stack of bamboo in each furnace, that's enough for 16 items per furnace. It'll be 16 stacks. How many stacks are in a double chest?
57? 52?
So we're trying a few.
Yeah. But that looks pretty fucking sexy.
Let's see how much they run and see how far the bamboo actually gets. Well, we can turn off the bamboozlers now. Did you turn them off or on?
Turn them off.
Oh, I turned them on then.
No, you haven't. You've sent the minecarts. What are you doing? We're off. We're cooking. That's a sexy timing if I've ever seen one in my life. Get the fuck in. However, what are we missing on the?
I think we're missing one side of the minecarts aren't running.
No, also the thingies haven't fired. Why is that not fired?
Maybe because I hit the lever twice.
If you hit it twice, it should have
sent the minecarts back.
Yeah. So switch the.
I'm just manually loading the empty hoppers. Let me know if I should do something else or stop that or.
No. So nothing's actually switched on, is it? So why hasn't that?
It's a very small space to fucking.
I think this that we're stood on, we're just gonna have to extend out by one. Which isn't great because of it might be okay. It might not. Because we're actually extending it by 2, aren't we? Yeah. Oh no, we'll be alright. Right in there. No, I'm fine. So then we are to reverse.
Yeah, we had to say that there, and that there, and then another block on top now. Another block on top of the redstone dust. But we are going to actually have to swap this out for my new favourite block, a target block. You didn't think I'd be able to use it in this build, come on. The target block will pick up the signal and turn the redstone torch off without it interfering. Because if I put a redstone torch with dust on, it will create an infinite circuit and burn out the torch. But this way, it will pick up the signal and keep it off. You'll see? Without creating the infinite loop. But if we had like redstone dust there, then you'd end up getting loads of issues when it gets powered.
So the machine is on, so that should be facing that way. Yeah. So if you go switch it off now?
Me doing that isn't going to send another minecart off or anything, is it?
No, there's no minecarts in them.
Is it reversed?
No, it's still powered.
Something's powering it because the line's still powered. I turned off the wrong fucking thing. The bloody levers are reversed.
Yeah. Spot on. Well done, Joseph.
Fucking minecart tracks, man.
Is that all the blocks we've got?
Just got to do the same to the other side.
At least that hasn't increased the size of the machine by much, literally just 1 out.
Hey, you ready for oh, you need to put the minecarts and shit back in.
Yeah.
I would have went with item frames, but sure. Smelting is not a clear indicator for me. It's a joys, exclamation mark, minecarts, exclamation mark, this lever does, exclamation mark.
Smelting. Up, on, down, off.
Honestly, it's just not a bad indicator for me. Do you know where the thing is, yeah, is that I came up here thinking that you hadn't turned them off. So when I flicked the lever, it's me, okay, what have you done? Have you activated? And you said G, and I was like, shit, maybe I've deactivated, and I hit the lever again. Up, on, down, off. Okay, yeah, that will make sense to me. We're good.
Yeah?
Yeah. Okay, we're good for test 2? Or test 3,
Yeah.
technically.
Test 3. Yeah.
Test 3. Okay, smelting, up, on. Yep. Okay, firstly, minecarts are out. Dispensers and droppers are all activated.
The rail is the right way around.
Yep.
Back up, yeah.
And the next lot go out. Happy days. Let's check this, make sure this actually collecting.
So the
Okay,
first minecart doesn't actually fill all the
yeah, I've noticed that as well, so we may need to adjust the timings on the first one. But the next one, spot on.
That's a sexy bit of timing.
Yeah.
I'm super happy with it.
And then we've got the items coming in. You've got to make sure that none of the items are getting stuck underneath in that water stream, because it's a little bit iffy at the end, where it does like a complete U-turn on itself.
We have done good, matey.
Let me just double check this. Oh, I thought some bits were getting stuck, which are they? Oh no, they're just bouncing from one side to the other, then going through. I thought they was getting stuck in the corner then.
Where are you looking?
Down on the ground where the items are getting dropped back into the water stream to go up top. Because they do like a very tight U-turn, and where they're coming in so quick from the side, they're bouncing to the other corner. But they're all making it back through and up.
You could try a bit of glass in the middle, so they would hit the glass and then drop into the water stream. Don't know if that would.
Enderman's just jamming up here in our fucking water streams. Nice. Is the Enderman interfering at all? No, he's fine.
We're getting no Enderman down here, which is good.
Well, once we've sort of done the dressing up of it, after we've removed the netherrack platform and built the ship, it should be alright.
Yeah, and the items are coming in 2 at a time as well, which is decent.
Yeah. It'll be coming in more than that after the back hoppers fill up. At the moment, they're just getting picked up by the back ones. So now they're getting picked up by the other ones. So there we go. Now we're getting like 4 at a time.
Fucking hell. Okay, let's have a decent test, shall we? Everything's running. There goes the bamboo.
TPS. No fucking way is that causing no lag whatsoever.
When I timed it in the test world, it was 4 minutes 45 seconds for 57 stacks.
Well, considering it's a replica, it should be the same. Barring our item collection is slightly different, but now that you've got all 6 of them now feeding into the chest, they're coming in a lot quicker. Alright then guys, I think that's gonna definitely do it for today's episode. We've actually got this running pretty smoothly after that first little hiccup that we had on me spamming the wrong lever, well thinking I spammed the wrong lever. Mac was kind enough to actually label this up for me, so I didn't screw it up. But the situation ended up being the fact that rail tracks are actually orientated in certain directions, and initially in the test build we had built this entire farm going in the other direction, so the tracks were snapping in the wrong place. So we've had to introduce a target block with a redstone torch on the other side just to invert the polarity of the signal from positive to a negative. And he's trying to figure out how comes a minecart got stuck where it did there. So he's trying to figure out that little problem, but after getting that fixed, the smelting run was perfectly fine. It was done in, I think it was around about 4.5 minutes for the entire thing to be smelted. And we have, I think he picked up a bunch of it. Yeah, so obviously he filled the full double chest back up with sand after we already done a pot of smelt. So we've got this bunch of glass plus all of this in the space of around about 5 minutes, which isn't half bad. And the bamboos was actually kept up with the smelting if we had them running, provided we was able to produce enough bone meal to keep them running. and that's what them farms are for. So happy days there. He's just testing the minecarts to make sure they're running, and then going back into their Pez dispenser. By the way, that was his idea. I suggested a Pez dispenser, and he says, well, has this ever been done with water streams before? I had no idea that it could be done with water streams, but that is apparently what we've done. So we created a minecart Pez dispenser that knocks the minecarts onto the track and then cycles them, basically. And we've only got 4 of them, not because we're going to have 4 running at any one point, but you need 4 in order to keep the pressure on the top one to be pushed out correctly. And that was due to a lot of testing, figuring that bit out. But yeah, hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. Hopefully the time lapses, because it's going to take a very long time to edit this video down. Like, this recording segment is at 53 minutes, one beforehand. The time lapse recording is about 8 or 8 hours in total with them farms plus this. And then you've got the little segment before that, so God knows how long this episode's going to be. It's going to be so long to edit, though. So hopefully you do enjoy it, and hopefully I'll catch you all in the next one. Bye bye.